The Port of San Diego's cargo terminals near National City and Barrio Logan are constantly moving cars, lumber, cement, and even fresh food. So it's no surprise that a health risk assessment puts those two communities ahead of Coronado and downtown for cancer-causing diesel emissions. Here's Port Commissioner RAFAEL Castellanos.
Because this is about the trickiest thing that I think it's the trickiest thing that we've dealt with since I've been on the commission, with the most serious implications when you talk about public health, obviously.
The source of the port's pollution? Rail operations, ocean vessels, cargo handling equipment, and of course, semi-trucks. The noisy big rigs have been the target of complaints for years, but the assessment revealed port trucks actually make up just 8% of the risk in National City and 4% in Barrio Logan.
What this risk assessment also is telling us is that the emphasis on the trucking is much smaller than perhaps this commission may have thought it was.
Commissioner Frank URTASUN hopes that this revelation can help prioritize where to cut emissions. Board Chair Dan Malcolm says he wants the most bang for his buck.
Now that we have some information, I think that we need to proceed holistically and strategically and look at where we can place our dollars, in the best place.
The port does have a plan to cut emissions. The Maritime Clean Air Strategy, or MCAS, outlines reducing emissions from trucks to boats and even cargo haulers. Officials say if the MCAS is followed, the cancer risk for National City, Barrio Logan, and Coronado can be cut almost in half by 2030. But now there are concerns about a piece of the plan involving electric trucks.
My problem is that I think some of the goals in here are really not feasible.
The truck transition plan calls for 40% of port truck trips to be electric by 2026, and all of them that way by 2030. Officials would spend up to $18 million to help carriers transition, but some wonder if it's actually worth it, especially with the port's own data showing that their trucks are a much smaller risk than originally thought.
It is a source of emissions, for sure. But where do we get the biggest bang for the buck, and where can we have the biggest impact? The cargo handling equipment. Yep.
Cargo handling equipment represents the highest cancer risk to Barrio Logan and Coronado. But even so, Commissioner Michael ZUCCHET says state mandates for transitioning semi-trucks to electric are already coming, and it doesn't hurt to start, especially when they know that trucks are part of the emission problem.
If we don't do anything with trucks, the percentage contribution is going to go up with trucks. I mean, that's just math, right?
Some of the port's biggest tenants and the trucking industry are pushing back. Truckers argue electric semis are expensive and there isn't widespread charging infrastructure. Tenants are worried that if truckers are required to buy electric, it won't be financially feasible for them to pick up in San Diego anymore. SARAH MARSH with produce giant DOLE worries that the company would take a hit.
All of this has a direct and serious impact to us as a tenant. If we are unable to distribute our product from the port, there's no reason for DOLE to call San Diego home.
Marsh says DOLE is behind the port's environmental goals, but they would rather see the agency focusing on high-emitting cargo equipment. The company has already electrified a quarter of its cargo fleet. Commissioner Sandy Naranjo says it's important for everyone to keep in mind what's at stake.
This is benefiting the health of our communities who have not had the opportunity to live a healthy and thriving life. So let's not forget that. Let's remember that these investments is going to mean so much to the community. We're going to be leading.
Advocates want commissioners to stay the course and stick with the goals outlined in the Clean Air Strategy. That includes the truck transition plan. The port is already making investments. A new electric tugboat is scheduled to begin operations next year, and all electric cranes are set to replace their polluting counterparts. Port officials are hoping to see significant emission reductions starting then. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.